Friday the 13th is the newest port to come to the Nintendo Switch. Bringing along its asymmetrical multiplayer, you'll relive some of the most terrifying moments of the Friday the 13th franchise, either as Jason or a counselor. The asymmetrical multiplayer that was heavily made famous with the game Evolved seemed like a perfect fit for a game themed after a famous serial killer. Friday the 13th owns that concept and implements it to create a love letter to the famous movie franchise. Following a similar gameplay style to Dead by Daylight, you either play as Jason Voorhees or a camp counselor. Jason is a large and horrifying figure, a monster that only a decapitated dead mother could love. When playing as him, you're hunting down up to 7 camp counselors across the 7 maps from the movie franchise. Jason may look like a human, a really messed up looking one, but he also has some supernatural powers. At the bottom right of the screen, you'll see a list of different abilities, each with a different recharge system. For example, he can teleport anywhere on the map, quickly morph travel for a few seconds, or catch a trail of where a counselor has been. These all sound pretty overpowered when first described, but he also has his own cons to balance out the gameplay. He's rather slow compared to the other counselors, he can't get through windows and he'll have to chop through doors before getting into them. Along with his supernatural powers are his tools. He has an axe to chop away people, bear traps to keep counselors on their toes, and throwing knives for anyone on the run. When playing as him, I couldn't help but feel like this strong and powerful figure that struck fear into all my friends playing as counselors. It was a ton of fun, like being the person in control of the shock drop and roll minigame in Mario Party 2. I think I may have just given away how old I am. Anyway, playing as Jason felt like an adrenaline rush that kept me saying just one more round over and over again. On the counselor side, things are more intricate and team-based, as they should be. Counselors have access to weapons that they can pick up scattered throughout the map. Alongside the main weapon are accessories that can distract Jason or aid you on your escape. Knives help you escape being grabbed by Jason, and fireworks can distract him while you make a quick getaway. Surviving is only one part of playing as a counselor though. Escaping is the other half, and you'll have to work together to execute it without actually being executed. There's multiple routes to your safety. You can call the police by finding a phone box and repairing the telephone line. This alerts the police with the 5-minute timer, and if you can last that long and get to an exit, you'll be home free. Another option is repairing a vehicle like a boat or a car. Cars need keys, batteries, and gasoline, while a boat only needs a propeller and gasoline. And lastly, there's Tommy Jarvis, a hunter that you can respawn as if you manage to find a radio hidden on the map. He's basically a more powerful counselor that can sort of act as a trump card to Jason. All these different options to escaping keeps every match feeling different from another, while channeling the teamwork based gameplay on the counselor side and balancing out the powers of Jason at his disposal. It all feels very balanced. What I have yet to mention so far is that underneath all this gameplay are RPG and progression elements. Counselors all have different stats to them, and so do the many versions of Jason. The Vanessa Jones counselor, for example, has a lot of stamina for running, but then makes a ton of noise because of her lack of stealth. Deborah Kim, on the other hand, is the opposite. Using the CP you earn from playing matches, you can even earn perks to help you survive. For Jason, you can spend your CP on new grab kills, these cinematic kills that you can perform when grabbing a counselor. They're brutal and a mess to watch, but I'll admit it, I just couldn't stop going after them. Something new to the game that was added after my review of the other console versions came out was the offline play. While this is still tailor-made for online play with friends and strangers, you now have the option to play offline with AI bots. It's certainly not as fun as playing with friends, and it feels more like a tutorial practice mode than a viable reason to buy this game. AI and offline are pretty dumb, often getting stuck on objects or just not running away from me. However, when playing as Jason, it gives you a nice feel of the mechanics and how to play. Aside from the AI bots, there's a challenge mode that gives you objectives like doing a specific kill on a counselor. The challenges are more cinematic than the traditional game mode, and were surprisingly a fun distraction from the main attraction. In the end, while it may not seem like there's a lot of game modes here, the progression system does encourage and properly reward you for investing your time online. Like a battle royale game, there's a distinct fun of just playing with your go-to set of friends or just making new friends through the online matchmaking. The former is definitely the best option though, and if you don't have friends to play with this online, it may not be as entertaining as if you did. This is where the Nintendo Switch version really sticks out for all the bad reasons. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Friday the 13th looks bad on the Switch. Character models are the best looking thing here, and when some of them have faces like this, that's not really saying much. The environments really take a hit here with muddy looking textures and models that are only harder to see when playing a dark lit game like this. Friday the 13th runs at a dynamic 720p in both handheld and dock mode that primarily stays on the higher end of the scale. What it does have trouble with is frame rates. Despite hardly ever actually reaching 30 FPS, it runs at an unlocked frame rate that targets 30 FPS, but usually sits somewhere between 20 to 25. It gives the game a more cinematic look at times, especially during kill animations, but it also makes general gameplay feel sluggish at literally any other point in the game. Can you get away with playing it like this? Sure, it's playable, but it's not the best nor a great way to experience this game. Friday the 13th already has a bit of visual and gameplay physics jank to it, whether you're playing on a $2,000 PC, on a $400 4K game console, or Nintendo's $300 tablet. Playing it on the lower end of the tech spectrum, you really do start to see more of the cracks in the visual performance, and well, a lot more compromises have to be made. Playing this Nintendo Switch version, I actually preferred playing in handheld over dock mode because the performance seemed to run better, and the money-looking visuals were just stretched out so largely on the TV. On the Switch's smaller display, a lot of the jaggies you'd see with a game like this are crunched down to fit on the handheld screen, and it kind of fooled me into thinking they were a bit crisper. One thing that isn't lost with the Switch version is the attention to music and audio design. Throughout matches, you'll hear classic tunes from the Friday the 13th series, including Jason's famous calling card sound. It's just as mischievous and spooky sounding as it sounds in the films. I love the way songs linger in the background, only to quickly pick up the pace when Jason gets closer to one of the counselors. It gets the adrenaline going, for both the survivors and the hunter. Specifically with the Nintendo Switch version, HC Rumble is used to heighten the impact of kills and hits. If a counselor gets hit, then you'll feel it in the Joy-Con. If Jason slams a door on someone's head, then you're going to feel every one of those door slams. My thoughts on Friday the 13th since it first launched haven't really changed much after playing the Switch port. It's a bit clumsy with the odd visuals and physics, but once you get past them, you'll be greeted with a solid love letter for the Friday the 13th series. Gameplay is thrilling and a delight, especially when you know the people you're playing with. That's not to say that this isn't fun to just play with randoms online though. For the Nintendo Switch version specifically, it's still fun, though way more sacrifices had to be made, and thus it has more problems that you have to put up with. It's not the best way to play, but just a playable option, and a difficult pill to swallow if you don't have the friends around to play with.